Recording in progress.
Yo, what's good? What's good, fam? I'm your boy Trey Frazier, and I got my brother Maestro Styles here with me today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Welcome, folks. It's another episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Shout out to everybody watching us now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter Live. Continue to follow us on those platforms. At Barbershop SPOR2 is the Twitter handle, and if you want to follow us on our Instagram, it's at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Yo, what's good, man? How we feeling?
What's good, man? How you feeling, man? How you feeling? It seemed like you having all the sports good news. I say not that Pittsburgh is having bad news, but you having it all around. It seems.
Except the Yankees. The Yankees are, struggling and they're injured, and they just put Aaron Judge on the DL for a while. But it's still early in the season for that. But yeah, man,
this is way too early to be.
Way too early. Way too early for that. So but we got time for that. But yeah, man, just the sports world, in my view, is on and popping right now, man. I got the Knicks in the second round, and congrats to the homie. Finally got his paper. Lamar Jackson, 5 years, $260 million, $52 million a year, $185 million guaranteed money. Congrats to the homie for finally getting the job done. Props to the Ravens for finally, getting it done, and now to be able to do other things in the offseason. The draft, which I guess we could kind of, segue into, because I feel like both our teams, and I feel like you and I are both kind of satisfied with most of the picks. You talked about Joey Porter Jr. You got your guy. I talked about.
That's not who I wanted, but I've come to terms with it. I'm cool with it.
Oh, okay. Well, you didn't not want him, but you preferred somebody else over him for the most part.
Yeah. I didn't get the tackle, but I per se want it. But like I said, I've come to terms with it. I hope that I hope Broderick Jones is going to be coached properly. And Joey Porter, we'll find out. Mm-hmm. It's a great story. Just like I said, I wanted Slim from Maryland. So
and his pops is on the staff still, right?
Joey Porter, I don't think so. But maybe.
Okay.
I haven't seen him in years.
Really? Okay. I guess I'm thinking about when the whole Pac-Man and Vontaze Burfict stuff happened. I think that's what I'm thinking about. That's
years.
That's 8 years ago. That's 8 years ago. Damn.
I don't.
Damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm tripping, but yeah, that's what's up. I mean, and y'all traded with New England.
To get Broderick Jones from Georgia. The tackle, the tackle that I wasn't, necessarily sold on because of technique.
Right.
But if they coach him up, I mean, we drafted towards what we want to be. We want to be physical. Joey Porter Jr. has been considered the more physical corner. In the draft, available early in the draft. That 6'8" tight end from Georgia is that that's going to pan out. I think that's going to pan out immediately, like this year. As far as like Tomlin already, I heard Tomlin already calling him the sixth man on the line.
Right.
We got a 6'2" cornerback from Purdue, Cody Trice, I want to say his name is. Mm-hmm. So we draft him to play bully ball. And that's what it seems the theme for this draft was. We getting back on some bully shit. So if we're going to draft towards a theme, then I'm with it. I'm right.
At least there's a plan. At least there's a plan.
Yeah, you already know me. Like I'll talk my shit, but if that's what Coach did, I'm riding with my coach.
I was gonna say if that man drafted nothing but wide receivers, we'd be, with it.
I'd be pissed. But I'd say, all right, but I trust my coach. I'd be pissed though.
Yeah,
I'd be like, I trust my coach.
Yeah. So I got my guy Zay Flowers. That was the guy that I wanted to get from Boston College. A lot of people compare him to Hollywood Brown because of the height and the stature and all that, but like when you watch some of his college tape back at Boston College, the dude's vertical jump is just crazy. You could throw a jump ball his way and he's gonna come down and get it regardless of his height. So I'm looking forward to that, with Lamar throwing in the ball, and now we got Odell Beckham, Nelson Aguilar is on the roster with Duvernay coming back from injury, and with Rashad Bateman coming back from injury. So I like that. Also, this linebacker from Clemson that we got in the third round, Trenton Simpson. I think that was something, not necessarily it wasn't an immediate need, but I feel like because they are not picking up Patrick Queen's fifth-year option, that this is sort of Patrick Queen's kind of, swan song in a sense, like, okay, you ball out, you're going to make yourself some money, but, you're not going to get the money from us. You're going to make it, somewhere else. So it appears to me that Patrick Queen is out the door after this coming season, and then I believe this guy right here, Trenton Simpson's gonna, take his spot. So we got an edge rusher from Ole Miss, Tavius Robinson in the fourth round. I thought that was cool. We certainly need some pass rush there, and then everything else, offensive tackle, a guard, and then we got a corner in the later rounds. So we only had 6 picks. We kind of did what we had to do there. But overall, I am satisfied with the draft and the results. And it's time to get to work now. Now it's it's time.
Yeah,
it's time.
I think Pittsburgh drafted extremely well. Even though, like I said, we didn't get some of the people that I wanted them to get first, second.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But they drafted towards need. They drafted with a theme, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
They had a really good draft. I have no real complaints. Like I said, I could pick straws and say I wanted this guy instead of that guy. But they picked towards needs. They picked towards theme.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I'm ready to see. It's time to see if Kenny Pickett is going to be the guy.
Yeah.
It's time to see if he's going to be the guy. I expect Najee Harris to have a way better season than he had last year.
Mm-hmm.
I expect Pickens to pick up. Deontay is still there. Like I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to do and how we're going to size up against obviously a tough AFC North.
Yeah. Shout out to XY Radio in the Facebook live chat. Shout out to the homie P Shark from the YouTube live chat. That's the homie there from Memphis right there.
What up?
And
Memphis.
I'm gonna talk about them because they I thought they did some grimy shit, but we'll talk about that. Before we get back to the draft, I want to let everybody know we got our boy coming on, ABM Doc Bell, host of the Post in the Paint podcast, Miami Heat fan. So me and him gonna talk about the series. And then he roots for the Bears. He's from Chicago, and so I know the Bears made a lot of offseason moves, and there was a draft. So we'll see what he thinks about how his team fared in the NFL draft. But kind of getting back to that, elsewhere in the draft, Maestro, who do you felt like won the draft? Like what kind of stood out at you aside from what your team did?
Obviously, the Eagles trying to turn their team into the Georgia Bulldogs but getting, what people would say was the best player available in the draft at 10, was it 10? 10 they picked that, something like that,
somewhere around there.
But getting Jalen Carter at defensive tackle to immediately replace Hargrave.
Yep.
That's major. And then still pulling off the linebacker from Georgia, Nolan Carter. That's major. Bijan Robinson going to the Falcons is a big move. That's going to be real. That should be good for the Falcons. I mean, obviously they still got a team to put together, but getting a young rookie at running back, I think that's going to.
They're trying to help their quarterback. They're trying to help their quarterback.
Yep. Yeah, that obviously, but I think they should have a good running game. They should have a decent running game with him and Patterson.
Yep.
Because I mean, I don't think Patterson's going to stop running the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's good that they went and got a guy that they consider to be a star running back that could be doing it. Taking the bulk of the carries.
Who's the other kid they got? At running back.
That Atlanta got?
Yeah.
That they drafted?
Not that they drafted. That was on the roster last year. Not Cordell. There was another cat on there that I thought was pretty good. I forget the guy's name, but
I know Cordell Patterson.
You add Bijan to that mix. That running game should be top 5.
I'm not gonna go that far because I don't know how good the offensive line is, but I will say that they should have a good running game. I'm not gonna say they should be top 5 though. They should have a good running game though. As far as reaches though, because I think it's important to talk about reaches. Well, I thought Detroit drafting the running back from Alabama was a reach, but they ended up getting rid of DeAndre Swift afterwards. So maybe they had a plan.
Where'd he go again?
DeAndre Swift, I don't recall where he went,
but
he is gone. He is gone.
I heard about that. I heard about that.
Yeah, he is gone. But it would seem that they got the guy from Alabama, who's kind of what people would say. Because I remember people saying that DeAndre Swift was the kind of guy that could kind of line up anywhere. I think that they're saying the same exact thing about this cat from Alabama. Where'd he go?
Philadelphia.
Wow, man. Again with the Georgia trend, right? So
yeah.
So so I thought that was a little bit of a reach until I saw what their plan was. The Packers drafting that Van Ness, that pass rusher Van Ness, at 12 or 13, whatever it was.
Yep.
I think that was a little bit of a reach. I think Pittsburgh put the Jets in a jam when we traded up to get that tackle
via the Patriots.
Yeah, right. I'm pretty confident that the Jets wanted to get Broderick Jones.
Yep.
And we jumped to go get him because we needed a tackle, obviously, as well. And some of the better tackles were gone.
Yep.
So so the Jets I don't remember exactly who they got, but I remember thinking like, we ain't got nobody else to pick type of thing.
Yeah.
I think Dallas did that too later on in the draft. I think Dallas wanted to, I don't know for a fact that Dallas kind of wanted to go tight end, but Dallas, I want to say it was the Bills who picked before Dallas ended up getting that tight end. I'm gonna mess his name up, but they ended up getting that tight end right before Dallas picked. And then Dallas ended up having to pick a run stopper from I want to say it's from Notre Dame or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was just interesting seeing, kind of watching. I'm gonna tell you something though about the draft or the NFL draft that I would imagine the NFL is gonna have a problem with.
Yep.
So I had the draft on mute, and I had the Pat McAfee show, the draft show on. Okay. I was watching that.
So is that the equivalent to like the Manning cast or something like that?
I'm not. No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not at all. They do their own draft show.
Okay.
But they literally 30, maybe 40 minutes before they announced announced Bryce Young getting drafted.
Yep.
They had already announced that he was going to get drafted. Like they was ahead of the draft by like 30 minutes. They was just like, by
30 minutes?
Literally 30 minutes. Literally. They was on here. They was on the show saying, man, we are way ahead, but it seems via Twitter that Bryce Young is going to be picked. They went from like 1 to like 6 before they stopped. Like they was like, all right, we're gonna chill.
Oh snap!
They
probably got that text from the league or something crazy like that.
Yeah, but it was interesting. It was interesting to me that obviously because Pat McAfee, ex player, kind of connected in the NFL with the people movers and shakers. I don't know if he was getting it or they were tweeting it. I don't know what was happening, but I know they were announcing 1, 2, 3, 4, like I said, maybe up to 6 before the actual NFL was. I gotta imagine that they're gonna do something about that. I gotta
It
imagine they're
sounds
gonna do
like it.
something about
It sounds like it. I mean, 30. I mean, I could see if it was 2 minutes, 3 minutes delay, even
Yeah,
5 minutes,
I'm talking
but
about.
30 minutes.
Literally 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Literally 30 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. You talk about taking the suspense away.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
right, right.
Sheesh. Yeah, I agree there. They probably gonna nip that in the bud for next year. But as far as what I took away from the draft, and I won't go pick for pick, but just the fact that and congratulations to the top three quarterbacks that got picked in the in the first four picks of the draft, with Bryce Young going to the Panthers, with C.J. Stroud going to the Texans, and props to the Texans too for the back-to-back picks.
Yeah.
I feel like D'Amico Ryans had his hands all over that move to get the linebacker. I think it was the linebacker that they took.
Will Anderson, defensive end.
Yep. After the quarterback. So props to the Texans for doing that. And then Anthony Richardson, which I think maybe was one of the surprises early in the draft because of, I guess, where people had him projected to go, somewhere from the top of the mid to the bottom of the mid portion of the first round. He goes number 4 to the Indianapolis Colts. And I'm like, man, we got black quarterbacks 1, 2, and 4 in the first 3 of the 4 first picks of the draft. On top of Lamar getting his contract, on top of Jalen Hurts getting his contract, it's been a great few days for black quarterbacks in this league right now. So I just
let's be clear, man. In case somebody or people didn't know.
Yep.
All that prototypical quarterback, all that that shit is dead, man. And it's interesting. That shit been dead since RG3, but it now is really starting to rear its head.
Yeah.
That shit is all that prototypical quarterback and mobile quarterbacks that can't move.
Right. Statues and
all that shit is 100% dead. Dead as dead. And it's like, all right, and the four of the top 5 quarterbacks, highest paid quarterbacks are black. You know what I'm saying? And the highest paid in Deshaun Watson, well, at least in guaranteed money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry, I know people have been getting on me a lot recently about this guaranteed money thing. Like, why you so stuck on the guaranteed money thing?
Oh,
because at the end of the day, that's what you're taking home. That's what you're taking home. That's why I'm so stuck on it. I get that Lamar Jackson is the highest paid, and that Jalen Hurts is behind him. I get it. I get annually that Deshaun Watson is not the highest paid for those who want to do that. But
the guaranteed money. But not to cut you, but they're saying you're stuck on not guaranteed money, but Deshaun's guaranteed money. Let's kind of be clear about that, because we're talking $230 million guaranteed.
Well, no, I'm sorry, but my whole conversation is about highest paid quarterbacks. Like, I get that Deshaun Watson is not going to end up being the highest paid quarterback. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I know what he's taking home guaranteed.
Yes.
No matter what happens is, and that's the kind of thing I've been pushing, because I don't want to seem like I'm throwing shade on Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
But but I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I felt like that their money should have been upward of guaranteed money should have been upward of $230 million.
Right.
I still feel that way. That's not shade. That I'm glad they got their money. I'm glad that they're satisfied. And at the end of the day, they rich, like rich.
Yeah.
So this ain't like this. Like, this is like picking nitpicking. This is like nitpicking.
Yeah.
But but that's my whole thing about guaranteed money. But to all that to say, hey man, with black quarterbacks being who they are now, and you not having, and that not people not being stuck on this whole we got to stay in the pocket and throw thing. You can bet your bottom dollar that the percentage of black people in the league is going up a couple more percentage points. You can bet.
Yeah, I mean, and then too, I mean, when you look on the defensive side,
because not to cut you off, but
Yep.
where at this stage where they need it, kickers, punters, and offensive tackles.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, Getting to the defensive side though, a lot of linebackers that are coming out in these rounds, these guys are fast. Edge rushers, even some DTs are, they're coming out, they're faster, they're stronger. And you need mobile quarterbacks. You need mobile quarterbacks to be elusive from these fast young linebackers, this day and age. So it's interesting, and I don't want to go too much down this topic, and because I want to read the story that I read that that Bomani Jones and Dominique Foxworth brought up on one of their podcasts maybe a few days ago. There's a theory that they have where they're talking about rule changes that are going to affect black quarterbacks. The other point that they made too was that the league may be worried that there's going to be so many black quarterbacks that they're going to lose the a portion of the white audience if I'm gonna throw a number out there. 60% of the starting quarterbacks in the league are black. And I'll just leave it there because I want to read the story and want to kind of hear and read what their points are, like detail for detail. So I'm interested to read that. As far as just kind of back to the draft for a second here, I think the teams with multiple picks in the first round, if we're talking about winners of the draft, obviously Philadelphia is the one where they got their replacements and stuff for the people they lost. I'm sorry, the Texans, and we've gotten on the Texans for a lot of their dirt over the past couple of seasons, but I really truly believe that D'Amico Ryan's imprint on this draft was really felt with those back-to-back picks. They said that was the first time that happened in like 20 something years or something like that. So so I thought the Texans did good, man. We'll see how they shape out this year. I mean, they can't go so they can only go up. I mean, they won 3 games last season.
You hope so.
Yeah.
You hope so.
They can only go up. So, got a question in here from X Squad radio station on the Facebook live chat. He says, "What are your thoughts about Primetime's comments about only one HBCU player getting drafted?" You know anything about that?
I don't know the exact quote. I know it was something basically. He was basically saying nobody got drafted out of HBCUs. I know a cornerback got drafted late in the 7th or something. I heard by the Patriots, I think. I mean, it's not gonna happen overnight. I mean, sure, and he should. I mean, that's what he's been pushing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So yeah, he should be vocal about it. I mean, I agree, but but we know what the story. We know what the conversation is going to be. The conversation is the competition. I'm sorry,
right?
It's not good in HBCUs. We know what the conversations are going to be, whether it's right or wrong. So it's going to be a little while, and then, and quite frankly, it really kind of depends on, in my opinion, how high HBCU stocks rises now, especially now with Deion gone. Who's gonna rise? What players? Look, I'm 100% confident that there are players in HBCUs that are just as talented as some of these players in some of these other schools. But the trend has always been that HBCUs don't get a whole bunch of looks for whatever reason.
Yep.
So I mean, hey, not to cast aspersions on Deion, but you was the bright light on HBCUs. And now that bright light's gone. So why would executives and people go back looking for HBCU players when the person who was putting the light on it left?
Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about that when he took the Colorado job.
It's some of the things. It's some of the cons of him leaving, and I get it. I get it. He spent his own personal money and was never. It was never reimbursed. Like he took personal money to build that school up, and
Yep.
so if he feels like I don't know, I no longer want to spend this money,
Mm-hmm.
he got a right to do that. He also has a right to go get paid because if he's not being paid properly, so I get why he left it. So this is not me, throwing shade at Dion. This is just saying that
Mm-hmm.
still the cons of it is that now nobody's looking.
Nobody's looking now.
We go back to what we were doing 3 years ago, 4 years ago before you came. We could just go back
Yeah.
to what we were doing because there's nobody making us look.
Unless a guy of Dion's ilk steps in and takes one of these HBCU jobs.
Ed Reed could have been that. Could have been that guy.
Right.
But, however it panned out, it panned out.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's people following that blueprint, even
Yeah.
if they gotta take their personal money. And I get that's a tall ask.
Yeah.
So
you need an icon.
That's a tall ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying it's a tall ask to ask, like I said, Ed Reed could have done it, but that's
Yep.
a tall ask to ask Ed Reed to take his money that he earned
Mm-hmm.
and then put it into a program that's supposed to be paying him. Like
Right.
that's a tough ask for anybody.
It's a tough ask, which is why I think if I remember us talking about this back when Dion took the Colorado job, I mentioned that this thing is going to be a cycle. So Dion was one that was at Jackson State for 3 years. He put HBCUs in a much bigger spotlight. He goes and takes this job, and now we're thinking, okay, Ed Reed is trying to do it. Obviously, it didn't work out with the school that he was trying to get the job with. You got Eddie George, who, and respect to Eddie George, but Eddie George is not the icon. Right, he's not the icon that Dion and Ed Reed are when it comes to the NFL.
But I don't even know that they need or they would need him to be a quote unquote icon. I don't think they had to be. I don't think they had to have the careers of Dion and Ed Reed. I think they just have to be vocal about what their issues are. Like when Dion got an issue, yeah, of course it has something to do with him being an icon.
Yeah,
with him being the cornerback, considered one of the best cornerbacks to ever play the game. Of course, it got something to do with that.
Yeah,
but it also got something to do with the fact that he will go on. He will bring a film crew and film a documentary. He'll think to do those types of things.
Yeah.
He'll bring Brittany Renner to go talk. Like he'll do these things. I seen at Colorado. I seen Carlos Miller from 85 South at down in Colorado fucking with him. Like, you know what I'm saying? He'll do those types of things that'll bring eyes to the program.
Right.
And when you start bringing that leverage to the program, now you can start talking about what your agenda is, and you can start making people aware of what you want them to be aware of. Eddie George, I don't know him. I don't know him to be a social media person. I don't know him to be doing those types of things that Dion was doing.
Right.
You just need somebody who's willing to come, and somebody with a name, and Eddie George has enough of a name, who's willing to do something outside of the box and film it and make it known to. Dion be on Shade Room when he was playing with Jack. When he was coaching Jackson State, he'd be on Shade Room.
Yeah.
That's how you get people noticing what's going on with you, and then you can start to push your agenda and push your narrative. It worked for Ed Reed in that short stint. When he had an issue, he got right on his phone and started talking shit.
Yep.
And next thing so my point is that you just need somebody who's willing to go out, step out there, not just go do the work. Obviously, go do the work, but do the work and make it known that you're doing the work.
Document it,
Right.
Yeah. Be out there, camera, documentary style, that kind of a thing. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that correlation. Well, it'll be interesting to see if anybody does do that. I'm trying to think about coaches that I know right now. Hugh Jackson coaches Grambling State, I think.
Right.
And
similar, he was taught that he be chilling.
Yeah. Similar situation with Eddie George. It's like we know they're there, but we don't see them on our timelines. We don't see the videos go viral. We don't see them in the news. We don't see them on Shade Room. So yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point there. But I wish I kind of knew who the player was. You said it was somebody from the Patriots, right? The
player
that got
Patriots drafted the player. I don't know his name, but I know he's from Jackson State. They drafted him in the 7th round.
Right.
So near the end of the draft.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
I could probably figure it out. I mean, it ain't shit but a Google search. But
quick shout out to Carlton Henry in the YouTube live chat, Sports Rap.
What up? What up?
What's good?
7th round draft picks.
Yeah, I
saw Isaiah Bowden.
Isaiah Bowden. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, congrats to him. I'll leave it at this. I hope that more players from HBCUs get drafted in the next year's draft. I hope that this coming college football season, I hope that one of these coaches starts to put some more attention towards these players. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about Giannis here. Well, as we kind of transition into the NBA here. So as we both know, the Milwaukee Bucks got upset by the Miami Heat.
Gentlemen's sweep.
4-1. Giannis had some comments in the post game in regards to a question that someone asked in the presser and asked the question, "Hey, is this a failure?" And Giannis basically brushed it off. He went on this 3-minute talk about did Michael Jordan win it every year and all this stuff, and life is trying to have a perspective on life and all this stuff. And from my vantage point, and I watched the bulk of that series, bruh, I don't want to hear that from Giannis. Coming off of a gentleman's sweep, coming off of being upset by a number 8 seed. I don't want to hear that from him. I'm sorry. It's a failure. You guys failed. You guys were a top seed. You guys had the best record in the league, and you guys got knocked out by a 8 seed that was scuffling to try to get out of the play-in tournament. So I can't rock with Giannis on that, man. And so I think I mentioned this last week, and you could make the argument that had he not missed the rest of game 1, had he not missed game 2 and game 3, that they would be up maybe 2-1 versus being down 1-3. You can make that argument.
Absolutely.
I watched game 4, bro. They was out there cooking the Heat. They was up 14, 16 points. On the road, whatever, but, they was, Giannis was out there, he was flexing, he was getting his, doing what he does, team doing what they do. They up 14 in the 4th. They blew the lead. Jimmy went apeshit. Like, you let that guy go apeshit, and then in game 5, same thing. You're up 16 points. We're sitting here thinking, oh, this thing about to go back to Miami for game 6, the way the thing was going. And again, you blew it. You blew the lead. You let Jimmy get the out of bounds catch.
Right.
The out of bounds catch to go in to tie it, right? And then did it go to overtime? I'm trying to remember if that went to overtime or not. It didn't go to overtime? No. Okay. So you let that happen, right? And then when you're down by a point or two and you're checking the ball, Giannis, you the best player on the team. Some people in the league call you, the best player in the league. I'm, a fan of Giannis. I think he's my favorite player that's not on the Knicks. I think I said that before, right? So I expect you to get the ball and do something and win the game and extend the series. The minute he gets the ball, bruh, he gives it up. He gives it up to Middleton, and no shade on Middleton because I've seen Middleton make some, clutch shots in the past, particularly in the championship run. But then he gives it up to Grayson Allen. So wait, this ball ends up in Grayson Allen's hands, and he doesn't even get a shot off. Like that's the,
right.
The worst part. The worst part is that it was in Grayson Allen's hands. But let alone couldn't even get the shot off, and the best player on your team gave the ball up. Oh, and by the way, he missed 13 free throws in that game 5 as well.
Look, man, I'm not gonna put too much on Greek Freak because he won the championship a few years ago when I was like, "Hey, man, I don't believe you, and I don't believe you until you get a jumper." And here he is with still a non-consistent jumper with a championship.
Took a step back in free throw shooting. Because remember, after the championship, he got better with his free throw shooting. Now, this year, for some reason, it's dipped.
Yeah. Look, man, I'm gonna make the same. I don't know if I said this last week, but I'm gonna say it again. If the best player on that team is cooking, it is your job as the best player in the league, however, if that's what you believe, who's won multiple Defensive Player of the Years, who is known to be a wing defender, to go out there and guard Jimmy Butler. That's your goal. I know. I get it. Drew Holiday is there, who is also a formidable defender. But you were Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak, and you didn't win no Defensive Player of the Year awards because you was a great rim protector. You got it because you can protect the rim, but you got it because of how you lock down people out and out the paint.
Right.
So in my book, I was getting my man was saying to me, Jimmy Butler going right around him every time because he can't move his feet. Nah, nope, I don't believe that.
Nah,
I don't believe that.
Nah.
I believe Greek Freak can cover Jimmy Butler just fine.
Yeah,
especially in the situation where this Bama was going the fuck off, and it was clear that Drew Holiday and some of the other Middleton at the time didn't have an answer. So if my people who our normal people are don't have the answer, in those times when he's going the fuck off, nah, get out the way. Get out the way. Because I'm the best defender on this team. Not Drew Holiday, not Chris Middleton. I'm the best defender on this team, and I'm the star.
Yeah.
So it's lockdown time.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I agree with Greek Freak, but what I think clearly he was upset about losing. Clearly, that's what it seemed like to me.
Sure.
Because and maybe it stung a little more than. Maybe it stung more than maybe it should have stung to him. I don't know. Because look, here's the thing. In sequence, the dude came on. The dude answered the question, and apparently he asked this question to the dude last year.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Greek Freak answered it last time, but this year he asked it again, and you clear frustration. Oh my God, like he was irritated.
Yeah.
That seems emotional to me.
It's part of it, yeah.
Right. So he seemed real emotional to me. So he did that, and then he went off with his diatribe trying to give us perspective. Here's the thing. Greek Freak, you right. In the grand scheme of life, this ain't a failure. But we ain't talking about life, my nigga. We talking about basketball. And in basketball, that's a fucking failure.
It's a failure, bruh.
It ain't no another way to slice it. It ain't no another way to slice it.
And he gave the ball up. The moment he got the ball, he gave it right up and didn't want the smoke.
And here's the thing. He could have clearly said, he could have did this, and that'd have been cool. Listen here, man. Yeah, we lost. And obviously we had plans to go into the finals, and we missed that.
Yep.
We didn't do that. But listen here, man, I'm blessed. I'm millions up. You know what I'm saying? I'm healthy and my people's healthy. He could have did that and I'd have been cool with it. But sit here acting like Jordan, like nigga, Jordan thought every year he didn't win a championship was a failure.
It was a failure. Right.
Every single year he didn't win, he felt like he failed. Yeah. And that's what winners, that's what winners do, G. That's what winners do, man. So I feel you try and bring perspective to take it off your loss. But you lost, my G.
Nah, it was visual.
And that was a failure.
Yeah.
And that was a failure.
Didn't like how that ended, man. Shout out P Shark in the YouTube live chat. Yeah, he said that. That game was an overtime game. So I thought that
it was okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That game 5 did go to overtime. So speaking
failure.
It's that whole series, the season that they had. Forget about it. Nobody's gonna remember that season. It's a failure. So let's get the homie in here right here, man. My man got his Heat hat on, ready to rock and roll here, man. Got the Jordan poster in the back like last time. Doc ABM Bell, man. What's good, man? What's going on?
What's going on, fellas? Playoff basketball, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, before we start trash talking and stuff, I wanted to hear what you thought about Giannis and what he had to say after your team pulled off the upset.
Man, I agree with Maestro. In the game of life, he's right. But 58 wins, best record in the NBA. You can't lose to an 8 seed. Now, I'm a Heat fan, and I picked Milwaukee, but I didn't know Giannis was going to essentially miss 3 games. But he was back for the last 2, and he had a monster game in Game 5, 38 and 20.
Yep.
In fact, they melted down the stretch, and nobody wanted the ball other than Chris Middleton. Giannis had it a couple times. He had it on the one that Chris Middleton made the miraculous save. When Giannis did the hot potato and threw it into the stands. And then he had one where he was coming down late in the game in the overtime on the last possession, and Jimmy Butler picked him up high so he couldn't get that running start and go dunk it. And he played hot potato, and nobody wanted the ball then for Milwaukee. That was a travesty. You got the boy from Duke driving, which he doesn't normally do a lot. He's driving. He doesn't even get a shot. They don't get a shot off before the shot clock goes off. So I agree with him. That's the heat of the moment, trying to give a speech, and it's great for kids to keep your head up. But, man, you're number 1 seed. That's a failure, man. You got your best player back for the last 2 games. If anything, I'm thinking that's going to 7, and my Heat played great, but we don't get them in 6. We're not winning Game 7. Was my thought. Right. I couldn't believe that. It was some bad coaching. Bad coaching by Budenholzer. His brother died.
Yeah.
You got to double Jimmy Butler. I'm a Heat fan. I'm like, okay, they're gonna do him like people do Portland. When Dame comes across half court, they just go double him. They say you can play 4 on 3 behind us. We don't care. Get it out of Dame. They never did anything to Butler. And I think Drew Holiday is probably pound for pound the best on-ball defender in the NBA.
Yeah.
But in any basketball, when an offensive player gets it going, it doesn't matter what the defender does. Jimmy had it going. They didn't put Giannis on him. And then that last play to send it to overtime, that the NBA correctly said Connaughton fouled him, so it should have been a free throw to win it.
Right.
How do you not have Brook Lopez in the game, either on the ball or standing under the basket? It's just bad coaching by Budenholzer. And he won the title, but now I look at that. Was that more the turnovers by Booker and CP3 late in 2 of those games? And Budenholzer finally got over the hump as a coach. So, I understand what Giannis is saying, but I knew as a Bulls fan, as Jordan fan mostly, year after year we lost to Detroit, he was pissed.
Yeah.
Game 6, Game 7, he didn't scare if he won 40, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP in 88, it didn't matter. They weren't getting to the ultimate prize, and he wasn't going to get his true props with Bird and Magic and a little bit with Isaiah until he won a championship. Sort of what we see with these star players now. So, man, Giannis, it was a great speech, but I'm with you, man. Hey, nobody's going to remember 58 wins. It's like when the Mavericks lost to Golden State when Dirk got the MVP.
Yeah.
When the Nuggets beat Seattle, that was a 5-game series. So, to me, that was when underdogs really could win a series because it was so short.
Right. Or when my Knicks knocked out the Heat in '99 with the Allen Houston shot. I'm sorry. I had to throw that in there. I had to throw that in there since you was on the topic of number 8 seeds upsetting the 1 seed. I had to throw that in there. Come on now.
ABM, I'm gonna tell you, man. This dude been on a Knicks run. This Bama doing shows. He going to do other people's shows.
Man, I was about to ask him, did he quit his full-time job, man?
Man, 3 games. He going to New York just to the game. He's shaking hands with Spreewell like he is on one right now.
He's everywhere. He's more magnified than Steve Harvey right now.
Oh man. Oh man, yo, it's been fun though, man. That was surreal though when we got to the box suite and Latrell came up and he had like a guard and security guy with him, but he said that Latrell wanted to come up and meet everybody in the box suite, so everybody got individual pictures with him, and then we all took a group picture with him. So that was really dope, man.
And that was a fun team. That was a Knicks team I really enjoyed. Was that year they went to the finals, man, against the Spurs with Spree and Allen Houston and those guys.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna get straight to it, ABM. How's y'all up 1-0? How y'all getting the Knicks out of there, man?
And the smartest thing we did was not be stupid and try to get greedy by playing Jimmy tonight, man. Give him them days off. I'm glad Jimmy's the kind of dude. If we were down 1-0, he would have played.
Yep, I agree with that.
It would have probably been our death knell because, that ankle can linger. You can play through the game, but when you get done, you get on that plane. I don't know if they sent him back. I haven't seen if he's on the bench for this game. But I would have sent him back to Miami after the game the other Sunday night. I would have sent him back on the first flight to Miami to get rest and get that flight out of his leg. But I think how we're gonna get him out of there is Bam Adebayo staying out of foul trouble. He's the key. We don't have much inside. We got rid of Dedmon. Dedmon's now on the 76ers. He got in that little. Threw something at the official, got suspended, and then we got him up out of Miami. Cody Zeller, man, I mean, come on, man. Kevin Love can provide some shooting, but he's almost a shell of himself, even rebounding the basketball.
Yeah. ABM, you speaking of Kevin Love, I feel like he won game 1 for y'all, and when I say that, I'm talking about when the game changed and when it flipped momentum. When we were up by 10 going into the, before halftime, y'all cut it to 5. And then going into the third quarter, Kevin Love had 2 straight possessions where he threw 2 outlook passes where we got caught napping, gave up quick 4 points, and then 2 possessions later, he does the same thing. Got a guy, I think it was Jimmy the third time where Obi's trying to guard him and he just got caught napping and we gave up 6 points easy, and y'all never looked back after that moment. Like that was critical.
I had a big smile on my face when we got to half and we were down 5 because I thought, it was going to be 12 to 14 somewhere in there. And I know it's tough for us to score. And I know at some point Tibbs has coached Jimmy 2 different places. He's not going to be stupid enough to let Jimmy just isolate over and over. There'll be some times when he'll keep Josh Hart did a really good job on him. He kind of has got at a lock in on the offensive guy, not lose focus. Like if he was guarding the shooter, even the Steph, he's going to get his points, but he's not going to fall asleep where Steph he's looking at the ball, Steph cuts and he ain't nowhere in the picture. So Josh Hart did a good job, but I thought that second quarter, man, when we were able to get it to 5, I felt like, oh, this is a game we can steal. And even when Jimmy got hurt, I thought we were in good shape because Gabe Vincent was rolling, and when Caleb Martin came in and gave us some great minutes, and I thought the 4 plays I think I tweeted about or put in the message group. RJ Barrett had 4 straight bad plays, like kind of remind me of Julius Randle at his worst, like in
crunch time.
Yeah, and he had 4. He made a great drive. Caleb Martin made a great block that the Heat were able to retain by the hash mark.
Yeah.
Then he had 2 turnovers on bad passes, just like they threw one at Josh Hart's ankles he was spotting up in the corner. And then he had no need to throw the shoulder on the ball screen. So those 4 straight plays, we scored on all of them. That was essentially the game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to come down to the end. And we had no answer for Brunson, really, because we're doing a lot of cross-matching. So you guys are going to have mismatch. RJ, I mean, if you look statistically and you take out those 4 plays, he played a fantastic basketball game for you guys.
RJ had a great first half. The dude was just going to the basket with ease, and nobody on the Heat could stop him. But the thing for me about RJ, and I thought he had a great 3 games against the Cavs in the first round, right? So in this game, he's balling in the first half, and into the second half he kind of tails off, and then by the time Jimmy hurts his ankle, I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm with my guy Sim. Shout out to the homie Sim. we're watching this game, and I'm like, okay, they're going to have to go at Jimmy here. Like, you're going to have to get Jimmy involved to make a move laterally to test that ankle. And they don't do any of that. I mean, this is when you're talking about how RJ kind of had those bad plays. Late. It made me, it kind of reminded me that RJ is young. And not to make an excuse for him, but this team is young. RJ's 22 years old. He got upset because there were a few times he drove.
Young.
Huh? I'll get to him.
Their coach ain't young.
No, I'll get to him. I'll get to him.
Yeah.
But he got upset because he wasn't getting the calls. He was driving late in that fourth quarter, got hit around a few times and couldn't get the calls.
Right.
I think that's what upset him, and I think it kind of clouded the judgment in, ooh, my opponent's got a bad ankle. Let me go test his ankle. And just wasn't thinking about that. Now to the coach, it's Tibbs' responsibility to make sure that these guys understand, hey, you got a hobbled player out here. You need to really go at him. And, we got
and make them
we're down by 3.
Out.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
In a close game like that.
I thought at times what they did was Jimmy's on you. You dribble up and they set a ball screen. So they were, everybody in this age, even if you don't set a screen, they just automatically switch, which I hate. That's what the Celtics do and get Al Horford on the island.
Right.
They don't set a screen, don't switch. But that's the new thing, just automatically switch if somebody's coming. So I thought at times they let Jimmy off the hook by setting the ball screen for the guy that was guarding Jimmy. Like, he doesn't need a ball screen. Let him attack Jimmy and everybody else after that. And they keep contact with Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent had an outstanding game. And he wasn't just hot. He took a lot of shots. At one point, hit his first 2, and then he was 2 of 7 at one point. They got to do a better job of knowing the scouting report with the Heat guys, knowing what they do. I always say that with Brunson and especially RJ, like they're going left. They go right, and the guy jumps over like they're going back left. They're going to go back to that strong hand.
Yeah.
Especially RJ and nobody. And obviously they're very, very good at it because, guys know they're going to go left and they can still get there. So you give them the credit.
Yep.
I thought the Knicks really didn't stay with the scouting report for the Heat, man. The Heat play one kind of way, and I was down on them all season compared to what they did last year. But I think I was losing context of them being missing the most games due to injury.
So ABM, take me a little bit deeper into that because I've seen you in these chat rooms in these streets talking about the Tyler Hero contract. Talking about Duncan Robinson getting his money and kind of being on a bench for the majority of the season. Take us into that and what's so different about the Heat this season versus their run to the conference finals and being a 3 away from going to the finals last year.
Man, everybody's been injured. Jimmy missed time. Hero missed time. They just had a ton of injuries, and they didn't play that well. We're not a fast-paced team, but we were one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
Since the playoffs started, we've been one of the best three-point shooting teams in the playoffs. So it's just been night and day. We got high contracts. I thought, we probably overpaid for Kyle Lowry because of his pedigree.
Yeah.
It was the push to get him. Tyler Hero, I'm still frustrated about that contract because we re-signed him or extended him instead of letting him play this season and see how he did. He honestly didn't have as good a season this year as he did last year.
Right.
And he was a restricted free agent. So my thing was, let's let him play. If he pouts or he's emotional about it, we'll see that. Maybe we see who pays him.
Yep.
And we can match it.
You'll get the best out of him.
Yeah, they were rushed on that. And then with Duncan Robinson, we paid him on what he did in the bubble. He was outstanding on our run to the finals in the bubble. I wish Bam and Dragic had been healthy for 3 games they missed. We still took the Lakers to 6. But Duncan Robinson got $90 million, and everybody figured him out. He can't keep you, me, or Maestro off the boards on
facts.
And he can't stay in front of anybody. And frankly, Max Strus is a similar type of player but he's more physical. He's more physical. And when Max Strus get a little bit of daylight, he lets it go. A couple times Sunday, I thought I was yelling at TV, get Duncan Robinson out, because he got a little bit of daylight and he didn't let it fly. It's like, dude, you're on the court for one reason.
Yeah.
If you get a little daylight, let it fly. We don't care. I don't care if you miss, if you take 7 threes and miss them, because you're probably going to get fouled because people are really running out on you.
Yeah,
if you exactly. Right. So I think Max Strus just took his minutes last year because he can. Everything else he can do much better than Duncan Robinson. He was shooting it better than Duncan Robinson was. If you just look at their stature, Max Strus is a stronger player. He can go to the basket. Like in that conference final last year, he was huge in that series for us. So, it's going to be interesting to see what we can do with our contracts. The good for the Heat is when you get picked up by them, we love the guys we develop.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take care of you. We're going to pay you. The problem is, our high-end talent isn't there, so we got, it's the culture, it's the attention to detail, it's all that. Top-end stars, we don't have. After Jimmy and Bam, wherever we ranking the players in this series, y'all probably have the next 4 or 5 guys, especially now the top heroes out.
Yeah, right.
That's the kind of thing. The Heat, I always joke, and they laugh on my show. I say they're a data boy team. If we had the Heat, if I had the Heat as a youth team, they would be what you want. They're going to do everything you practice and coach for. You're going to probably win a lot of tournaments, but if another team is well coached and they have higher end talent, that's where they might get you. The thing is, if you let them hang around, they're going to be right there. Like you guys letting them hang around this game, we'll mess around and get this game without Jimmy, like Philly did, even though Philly still had a couple high end talents without Embiid. It'd be interesting what we can do. And we've traded a lot of picks to get Lowry and some of these guys. Tyler Hero has to evolve from just a, 6-man type scorer that plays starter minutes, because I honestly didn't know Jimmy Butler would still be going this well because of having played with Tibbs. Chicago, they grind you out.
Yeah.
Then Minnesota grinds them out. And the Heat kind of grinds you out a little bit with the way they play. Not as much as Tibbs, but Jimmy Butler is a bad man. I know a lot of people in Chicago used to say he wasn't going to be nothing, and they're kicking themselves now.
Yeah. I read that guy's story about him, bouncing around from home to home and stuff. It's pretty remarkable that he's, become who he's become today. But hold on,
I gotta ask. I don't want to forget. How do you feel about Bam Adebayo at this point? Career.
It's been solid, and again, Bam is a guy here supposed to say it all the time, and it's true to an extent. He's a guy you can't always measure with stats, but sometimes Bam will have a miss. Like you saw the Milwaukee series, you saw what Brook Lopez was in the restricted circle. Like Bam, you could get that free throw line jumper every time. Bam would catch it, wouldn't even turn and look at the basket. He out there looking for cut. I'm like, you got to turn and score. So he's a solid player, but I don't know that we can be a true contender where coming into a year I can look at Philly, I can look at Boston and say, okay, they're contender. I can look at Milwaukee and think they should be a contender. With Miami, we're a player away. Bam has to be our 3rd or 4th best player. He's our 2nd best player, and he has 16 and 8, and he does a lot of little stuff, but he's getting paid, like he's a 2.
Yeah, right. Right. I wanted that to be heard for some Miami players in the back that I be talking to, because look, Bam was supposed to be that dude, like you said, a number 2 behind Jimmy Butler, and it just seems like he's there. He's just good enough to say, all right, I'm making the money here. I'm just good enough to be here. But I definitely think it's time for y'all to try to get that guy who's going to actually help Jimmy Butler on the offensive end. I agree that Bam is there for hustle shit and shit that we don't really account for.
He's Hassan Whiteside 2.0, basically.
I don't know.
Right? Because that's what Hassan Whiteside did.
I'm gonna throw this out here. Bam is a low-end version of Draymond Green. If you look at Bam, he'll bring it up. He'll initiate our offense. He plays defense, but he doesn't play with the emotion and rage of Draymond.
Right.
I think he might actually be more skilled than Draymond.
I think he is 100%.
In natural skill, but he don't have that fire Draymond has. Maybe if we can untap that, we might see another. Now, he made the All-Star team a couple years ago, but I don't think the way he plays and the motion he plays at, cool demeanor, he's going to be a year in, year out All-Star type person, unless the Heat are, second or third in the East when they're doing All-Star voting. I just think there should be another level he can go to, but it's just something missing. But he does a lot of the same stuff Draymond does. Draymond's just in your face. Draymond is always going to be the emotional barometer of the Warriors. You can't say that about Bam. He's not Jimmy's the scorer. Yeah. I mean, Jimmy's amazing scoring is that he can just ease into the game. He don't just come out jacking shots. He just ease it. Then there's something to playoff Jimmy. I used to think that was just a moniker like playoff P. There's a real thing to playoff Jimmy.
Yeah, because it definitely seemed like he'd be kind of, he'll coast. He'll kind of play when he want to play. But like that last Monday, not yesterday, but the Monday ago when he went crazy for 56 against Milwaukee, it was just like, all right, he just seen something was going on. Oh, I got a chance to get in here and change it and change this series. All right, let's do it right now then. And like I told Trey on Tuesday, last Tuesday, I said, oh, this series is over. After you score 56. That's the nail in the balloon. Like all the air came out of Milwaukee.
3-1. Yeah.
I felt good about Game 6, no matter what happened in 5, when he was just talking shit to Drew Holiday, and Drew Holiday couldn't even come back on the other end. I'm thinking like, y'all need Drew Holiday. And the thing I said about Milwaukee, I didn't know if they could come out the East unless Chris Middleton got back to where he was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
And Chris Middleton got back to where he was 2 years ago in that series, but nobody else was there for him. Nobody else was there. And Bud did some interesting things. He didn't play Bobby Portis, who I thought would have been a tough matchup for the Heat. He did a lot of strange stuff. And I know he had his brother, but, usually they say when you step inside them lines, it kind of distracts you from real life going on with that.
So, ABM, you said that Budenholzer lost his brother? Is that what you said?
Yeah, they said his brother died in the series. They didn't announce it until after the series.
Oh, wow. Wow. Condolences. Condolences, yeah. Wow. So, explain something to me, ABM. Miami's three-point shooting, because it's been one of the worst all season long, and all of a sudden in these playoffs, you got Duncan Robinson shooting 70% in the Milwaukee series from 3. I think he went 13 for 17. And then all these other guys, Lowry, Strus, Martin, Jimmy, they're doubling their three-point shooting percentages, and it's just kind of coming out of nowhere. Like, you got to explain that for me, bro. Like,
man, it's amazing. And I thought after Game 1 in Milwaukee, okay, it won't continue. But they spaced the floor. They're getting good shots. One thing I was saying on my show yesterday, these guys play their role. Nobody's like, Spo think I'm just going to be in here for some defensive minutes. No, I'm going to show them I can do this. Most of those guys stay in their role. Caleb Martin's a driver, but he's developed knows he has to take those open threes because that's the game now. So they're on a hot streak, but I think they had some of this in them. I thought they should have been like your Knicks battling in the 4 and 5 seed. I thought they should have been where the Cavs were. I think talent-wise under the Bucks and the Sixers and Boston, but no way we should have been in the play-in, in my estimation. I was shocked we didn't catch the Brooklyn Nets when they made the team. We just kept playing bad basketball. And the one thing I could say, I didn't think of anything during the season, but we were in like 56 games that were called clutch time games where it went down to the last 1 or 2 possessions. Now you see the playoffs, we're winning those type of games. So maybe that prepared us. And we pretty much got the same guys from last year. So, I mean, these guys have made plays before, but we are shooting it pretty good. Right now, 2-point game. I mean, this is a low scoring game. This looks like that game last night.
So
I got a question before, and I don't know if you got one more question, but I only got one more question.
Oh, go ahead, Maestro. Go ahead.
I only got one more question before we move on to Chicago. How do you see this series panning out? Like, as far as who wins, how many games?
If the Heat win, I think they do it in 6. If it goes 7, I'll give the edge to New York because of the home environment, and I think they got more guys that can get 30. Like, you got Brunson, and if as long as Randall doesn't tweak that ankle again, you got 2 guys that can give you 30. Where right? Question wise, who's going to match Jimmy with 30? Could be Vincent. Could be a combination of guys that get 15 or 20. But I think we got to win the 6. So, I mean, if we get this one, that would be monumental. This would be devastating to the Knicks.
I was gonna say if we go down 0-2 going to Miami,
I think it would be more devastating mentally just because all the hype and you don't have Jimmy Butler. You can't. But like last night, the longer this game stays close, that sphincter's gonna get tighter on the Knicks than it is the Heat.
Yeah, yeah. But check this out, ABM. So my expectations coming into the year was that the Knicks had to make the playoffs, and they had to at least take a series, the first round series, to a 7th game. We got the Cavs up out of there in 5, gentleman's sweep, pretty much.
Yeah, dominating.
I'm looking around the Eastern Conference, bruh. Joel Embiid, we don't know what that man's status is. They said he was gonna wear a brace the previous series. We'll see what the status is for Game 2. Boston is looking real shaky right now. Like last night's game, that was pretty uncharacteristic of both them young guys on the floor there. Look, I'll say this: expectations change, bruh. I'm not on no Stephen A. type excitement here, but I'm just looking around the conference and I'm like, why can't the Knicks get to the finals? Why can't they get to the finals? And I don't want to forget Jimmy with the ankle and the injuries that they already have. I'm thinking Knicks got a chance here. Like this,
it's wide open because every game somebody's getting injured. Jimmy was a freak thing. He rolled it, but Josh Hart slipped, and if you slow it down, it looked like he karate kicked him, but he didn't. He didn't do anything. Yeah. But it's like, that's why I said if we can get this one, is great, because any game you can get, you don't like Boston messing around with the Hawks blowing that lead. Yeah. Last night, James Harden got on the heater. He turned back the clock. He got on the heater. And one thing I said about Boston is, if y'all remember last year, Ime Udoka got in them guys' face in the he wasn't. Doc Rivers is very positive. Doc is always positive. Even when he yells, man, Ime Udoka was getting in guys' face. And I said, I'm waiting to see Joe Mazzulla, how he handles that. I didn't think he handled it good in the Hawks series game 5. And last I didn't have. Why is Marcus Smart getting that ball on that last play? You just ran a play where Jason Tatum got it at the elbow, turned on Tobias Harris, and got fouled with 26 seconds. Great play. Yeah. Good player, quick hitter. How does Marcus Smart have that ball? He made stupid plays against the Hawks too in that game they lost. That fake hustle play last night. So Joe Mazzulla can grow into making those good choices. But right now, I think they missed Ime. I don't think they even one of those games with Ime, because he would get in those guys' face. Be able to get in your star's face and say something to him. Way Pop would, way Phil would say, "Hey MJ, see who's open. Trust him. Trust this guy. Make that pass. Trust that guy."
The Brogdon turnover was a killer.
Well,
last night.
It was a killer. It was different, but it reminded me of a man on Georgetown when he threw it to James Worthy. Way back. Way back. But and the funny thing was, it was almost a shot clock violation, but because Maxey had it, they didn't stop it.
Yeah, right.
It was in the air, it would have been a shot clock violation. But the Celtics they haven't played defense. They had 10 fouls last night. That means you weren't playing defense. And then now they were letting both teams play a little bit. But the Celtics, I thought they would win it all. They were my pick to win it all, but they play in spurts. They play, very up and down. They could look like the greatest team, and then they just turn it off and just, come back in the game. And, they're living dangerously. Now with Embiid, he's never in great shape, is he? So
never.
When he comes
Don't
back,
seem like it.
what great shape is he going to be in? He's a guy that he tries to embellish fouls with falling. So I actually think them resting him, Celtics should win tomorrow. I think they'll probably win tomorrow. But in Game 3, I wonder how effective Joe Embiid is going to be and how it's going to affect their team getting him back, because they're going to play a whole different style. They're much better with him.
Yep.
But he may be favored in Game 3 to me, because it just may be some rust with him, because you can't replicate playing.
Right. That's the game the Game 2 tomorrow, that's the game you sit Joel Embiid because you got the one last night.
Yep. Yeah. You don't risk it, because they don't play again for a while. So That'll be good. Some of these series they're playing every other day.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, right. Like Game 3, Knicks and Heat is Saturday. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Too much time
but
off.
I think that's what they're doing. Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. Like, cause I know in the first round they was doing it every other night, but I noticed that with the Phoenix series, they played like Tuesday and then they pushed it out to like Friday. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of that they're kind of, I guess, as people are starting to get eliminated, they're kind of trying
spacing out so they can hit the midweek and then get to the weekend. But that Lakers Warriors is every other day the first 4 games, which
absolutely
that's an important factor in that series.
That's the golden series right there. Like that's the
cash cow. That's the cash cow.
Exactly.
Cash cow. Absolutely. Getting to your Chicago Bears, man, the NFL draft, man. How you feeling about the draft? I don't even want to give you. I don't want to do you greasy on team projections, man. I just want to know how you feel about the draft and where you guys went.
Man, I felt good. All leading up to it, I knew they were going to take Jalen Carter unless it was like 11th hour thing. They kind of fed into all the stuff with him. And although I would have really considered, I understand where we're at. If you miss on him, it's too big a miss. You know, if he doesn't, something happens. I was worried about him when he was in the championship game because he was huffing and puffing against Ohio State. I know the emotion, but I'm like, he come to Chicago with all them great restaurants. That boy may eat himself out the league. So I was just months ago before his pro day. So I like taking the tackle. I was so happy when we didn't take the tackle out of Northwestern with the short arms because they were Skornowski because they were talking about him being bring him into camp and deciding if he's a tackle or guard. I'm like, we don't take no guard at number 9, which was where we were at before.
Right.
So I like getting the tackle out of Tennessee. Got 2 defensive tackles from the SEC. So yeah, they're not Jalen Carter, but they're solid players that can push that pocket. We were the worst team against the run. So I like what we did. We had our weapons. Well, we got DJ Moore because initially I didn't like the trade, just moving back from 1. And I'm like, then I saw DJ Moore. I'm like, okay, he's had 1,000-yard receivers until last year when they were playing musical chairs at quarterback. That affected him.
Yeah, but y'all fleeced the Panthers though.
Yeah, our quarterbacks think the Panthers said, so we'll run the ball and we'll make a run for the South, which they almost did. So I like what we did. I love what we did. I like we got a tackle. So now we had Brax, the boy last year was a 5th-round pick. He played left tackle, started 17 games. So our offensive line should be solidified. Now it's just about Justin and our offensive coordinator getting more dynamic, not putting him in them situations where he's running too much, you know, where he's only when he has to. We finally have some weapons, so I feel pretty good. And the interesting thing is the division is almost wide open. I mean,
I was just about to say, I don't see why y'all can't compete for the NFC North.
We should be in the running, and it might be a 9-8 type deal like the NFC South, AFC South was, maybe something like that. But we should be in contention. It's all gonna be based on our defense because we gave up Roquan last year, and I didn't have a problem with that because
thank you for that.
Roquan would have had a great season making tackles, but they would have been 6-7 yards down the field because we pretty much lost our whole defensive line from the year before. Hicks, Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, and we were running different defense, so we weren't even going to allow him to get one-on-one matchups on our side. So I felt good about our draft. Now it's about seeing the development of Justin Fields and seeing if those games we were in last year, if we can finish some of those off and win, because that's the NFL. There's some great teams, but most of the games are one-score games, even if you're teams.
Yeah.
So that's one thing Justin had us in every game last year almost, but we didn't pull him off. That's the next progression I want to see with him. All the stats and the passing, but I just want to see him finish off some of those because that's how you build your culture.
Absolutely.
Learn how to win those close games. Because the schedule is going to be adjusted on how you won or lost, and but it's all about winning those close games. So I was happy with our draft, man. I'm excited. Like I said, it was the biggest draft in Chicago sports history. We got Fields. We had Walter Payton, but we've never had the number 1 pick when we had Walter Payton. We had Michael Jordan, but we never had the number 1 pick. And Justin Fields is either one of them, but he's a transcendent talent. Now it's about, cultivating that talent. So I like what we, I think Chase Claypool, a full year with him, they'll learn how to use him. Last year they were doing wide receiver screens with him. They really didn't know what to do with him. They didn't know anything he did in Pittsburgh. They didn't even run that with him. So hopefully he did in Pittsburgh, they look at that film and they got a whole off season. I saw Justin Fields and his wide receivers, including DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney sitting in one of the low sky boxes at a Bulls game late in the season.
Okay.
I'm ecstatic that they're already cultivating that relationship because that's going to go a long way with the success of the team.
I will tell you this. Look forward to a whole bunch of contested catches that he should have caught that he drops. You could, and Chase Claypool I'm talking about, if he don't get any, if he stays right where he was when he left Pittsburgh, you can depend on him playing small in moments where he is clearly the bigger receiver and dropping a lot of contested catches.
Yeah, and that's what I thought he might have is a lot of contested throws. Yeah. But they ran a lot of wide receiver screens like they didn't know what to do. You're the new toy, and it's you see, we don't know what to do with it. Let's just try this. So they'll have some. Darnell Moody's a flyer, and DJ Moore. I think our running game will be good. I hate to losing Montgomery, but I think Khalil Herbert's ready to have a breakout season.
I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. I was trying to figure out why he wasn't getting more, but obviously you drafted Montgomery, so that's a guy you kind of roll with. But yeah, I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. Hey, I'm good, Trey. I don't know if you got anything else.
Yeah, I just want to say, man, the draft for the Bears I thought was one of the best for y'all this year. Y'all addressed the weaknesses that I thought y'all had last season with the offensive line and the defense once you guys traded Roquan Smith. And thank you for Roquan Smith, by the way. But yeah, I felt like that defense took a momentous turn once y'all traded him. So with the draft, y'all addressed the needs. And like I said before, there's no reason why anyone should think that, they can't contend for this division, given that there's no Aaron Rodgers in the division no more.
Yeah, it's wide open. Detroit had a kind of uptick season last year. We'll see if it's real, but Green Bay is basically starting fresh. Minnesota's defense has really faded the last couple years, so it's wide open. There'll be teams that are favored, probably Detroit or Minnesota, but there's no world beater in our division whatsoever. So I would like to see us contend by just winning those close games. Just continue to build and see what we can do, because we were in a lot of games last year. It was just always something. But hopefully Justin Fields is not, 67 or 70 yards away from Lamar's record rushing.
Right.
And lots of running backs. So hopefully he's half of that rushing, but it's more conducive to us winning and keeping him out of harm's way.
For sure.
That's what's up.
So I'm sorry, I lied. I got one more question. How many more years do you give Justin Fields before you feel like he might not? This ain't gonna work. Draft the quarterback. What's his projection?
I would say we got to see this year as some wins. We had 3 wins last year. I would like to see us at 7 or 8. We get to 7 or 8, or we win the division. I think he would be. I think that would be enough. I would say maybe next year, but I got to see a big jump this year. I mean, we moved a lot. We did unbear-like stuff to move up to 11.
Yeah.
My lady called me from Chicago like, hey, they saying the Bears are going to move up and get Justin. I hung up on her. I didn't even say, really? I hung up on her. Don't play with my emotions like that. So I'm high on him. I've seen him make great throws where the lineman is being hit. His lineman knocks him down because he's getting pushed into a touchdown pass. We just need to see the consistency. I thought he developed a great relationship with Komet from Notre Dame, the guy that looks like, you see him in the airport, looks like a big-time tight end. He finally started to make some plays last year. So I'm looking for a big jump from Justin Fields. I'm not saying he's got to be a Pro Bowl starter, but we got to see where none of us have any questions on Justin Fields. It's like, okay, what else do the Bears need?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, ABM, man, go ahead and plug your show. And first of all, You came through in the clutch for us. So
you've never seen him run like that, Ohio State. So
okay.
You froze up.
You froze. Yeah, you kind of froze.
Huge, so.
You kind of froze there, ABM. But we kind of heard what you said there about the stuff there. But I was just saying that I appreciate you because you came through in the clutch today, on short notice. So want to
brother.
give you props for that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Let everybody know where they can find you at on social media, and go ahead and plug your podcast.
The Doc Bell on Twitter and Facebook and IG. Posted in the Paint, Spreaker.com. 3 o'clock Eastern time on Mondays and 6 p.m. on Thursdays.
All right.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up, man.
Hey, yeah, I appreciate you, my guy.
I appreciate it, man. I will be in touch. I want both of y'all to come on, man, when football before it starts, and give everybody a little preview on your teams, an expert preview on each of your teams, man. And Trey, I am happy Lamar is signed, man. I'm looking forward to visiting. I will hit you up this year. I know I'll be back to see Deacon, so we'll have to all connect this time when I'm there, man.
All right. That's a bet.
Okay, for sure.
That's a bet.
Hey, don't forget, we got this Avi bet. Whoever loses, I'm hoping I know as soon as if y'all beat us, and I got to keep that up, because our bet is whoever loses has to keep the Avi up as long as the other team is in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I know if I post the Knicks, all my friends will be like, "Why you got them New York? You ain't in Knicks." No, I lost the bet. I lost the bet.
Yeah. Likewise. You know, my folks back home, they can't stand the heat. You know, let me tell you, me and my guy Sim, he's a Knicks content creator. He invited me.
These motherfuckers did the whole history of the Heat versus the Knicks. I'm sitting here, look, I wasn't gonna knock your flow, but I'm sitting here, I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm saying, is these motherfuckers going from the 80s all the way up into
the 80s? All right, I hear you. Trying to be funny, the 80s. You funny.
These motherfuckers were so. These motherfuckers
they were in the street jumping around on the first round series.
Man. But that's who they are. That's who Knicks fans are.
Hey, man. Hey, imagine if we end up winning the chip, bro. They're gonna burn Penn Station to the ground.
Oh man, Stephen A. gonna retire, man. He gonna come on and lose his mind, cuss everybody out, and retire.
Hey, bro. Thank you again, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Hey, keep doing y'all thing, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
You do the same, bro. Appreciate
it.
Love. No doubt. That's Doc ABM Bell right there, Posting in the Paint podcast, Spreaker.com. Check him out there. Also, all his social media, Twitter, Facebook, and IG, and all that stuff, man. I wanted to incorporate him in the conversation about the Phoenix Suns. I know we had to, go handle some stuff, but I wanted to bring this up in light of the game last night against the Nuggets. So they're down 0-2.
2-0. Yeah, 0-2, yeah.
They're down 0-2, going to Phoenix. I don't think the series is over.
At all.
But I watched those two games, and I'm like, holy snap. You would think the series is over, but I'm not. I'm too smart for that. I
know better than that.
I'm too smart for that. But props to the Nuggets, because I think throughout, for at least a game and a half, because I thought the Nuggets struggled a little bit last night, but then they kind of got it rolling in the fourth there. Where do you stand at this right now, as far as...
look, the Denver Nuggets are the number one seed in the Western Conference. We know this team is a good team. Jamal Murray is going batshit crazy right now.
Kind of went ghost last night, but
kind of did, yeah.
Game one was 34 points.
Game one was 34. Okay, my fault. I got it mixed up. But look, man, they doing. Denver is a good team. We know Denver is a good team. Let's not be fooled by the Clippers. The Clippers was missing their two best players for the majority of the series. So of course that didn't look as competitive. It wasn't that the Suns are so much better than the Clippers. The Clippers won 100%.
Yep.
This team is healthy.
Yeah.
This team is healthy.
Yep.
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. Oh, the bench. not for nothing. If memory serves me correct, the Phoenix's bench outscored Denver's bench by like 1 point, which is not, so it's not
last
like
night's game.
Last night game. So it's not like
okay.
the bench. It's not like, so for the people who quick to say, oh, the bench. Just calm down. It obviously Phoenix would love to have a better bench, but I do still feel like having Booker and Kevin Durant, I ain't gonna say gets rid of it, but it balances it balances it out. Yeah. The issue I feel like is that Torrey Craig disappeared last night. Chris Paul disappeared last night. Ayton only had 14. Yeah, Ayton only had 14 last night. So it's these ebbs and flows are going to happen. They're not playing. Denver ain't a trash team.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I do think that it should. I'll be concerned if they lose Game 3 in a dominating manner.
Okay,
like it'd be a dominate like a ass whipping.
Yeah,
I'll be concerned if the Suns get an ass whipping Game 3.
Well, I think whether they get their ass kicked or they lose by 1 point in Game 3, I think the series is over because you're just not coming back from 0-3 to beat this Nuggets team.
Why do you feel that? I get history. I know you about to say history. I don't know that that's 100% true.
So I've been posting this on Twitter for a bit, and it kind of goes back to the Clipper series, and we know Kawhi Leonard played for 2 games, and then all of a sudden, we don't see him again, and it gave the Suns the opportunity to finish him off. I kept asking this question, and I know you and I we had this conversation, but I'm watching the play of Devin Booker, and I'm watching the play of Kevin Durant in the Clipper series, and I'm like, okay, if there was such thing as a first round MVP, it would go to Devin Booker. It would go to 100%. Devin Booker. 2 40-point plus games, 2 30-plus point games, averaging 37. KD's numbers aren't bad. 27 points a game. It's not
better than his.
It's just not right. It's just not better than Devin Booker's, right? So now we go into the Nuggets series where I expected it to be a different series. We talked about it. The Nuggets are healthy. One of the better, deeper rosters in the league. And I'm watching that game last night, and Phoenix had the opportunity to take over. I thought the Nuggets didn't play their best game either. Jamal Murray in particular, he went ghost. I thought that he struggled with his shot, and I thought that the opportunity to take Game 2 was there. I think the momentum swing, and I think the point that game turned was Chris Paul with the groin, and he left the game. He didn't come back. We don't know his status moving forward. But then you started to see Book kind of take over the game, kind of run point, dictate, okay, am I going to get my shots? Am I going to get KD involved? Am I going to get the other guys involved? He was doing a little bit of everything. Yeah, he was doing a little bit of everything. I thought KD was not good from 3-point range. 2 for 12, I think his numbers were. I'm gonna just say it. This is Devin Booker's team right now. I saw your tweet. It's Devin Booker's team right now. And I say that in respect to the Clipper series because we know what happened there. Both stars are out. I'm thinking the Nuggets series, we're gonna see Kevin Durant be more aggressive. We're gonna see the change in offense. We're gonna see him be more demanding of the ball. We haven't seen that yet.
Well, I'll tell you what I see.
Okay.
Because this conversation has been had. I'm pretty much being checked on sports every day at work now. What I see happening, and let's be clear about something. Devin Booker ball, taking nothing from him. I think the team saw, and I think Kevin Durant saw, and I think more importantly the team saw. Devin Booker was the hot hand. Let him continue to be the hot hand. There's no point of trying to get aggressive and finding my offense in the Clippers series when the two best players are out and he's cooking. I think that's what happened in the Clippers series. To this series, it's been 2 games. I think Chris Paul going down and Devin Booker being a primary ball handler at that point would make it seem like, okay, this is his team because he got the ball in his hands more, and so I can get why in a spurt of 7 games, you could say that this is Devin Booker's team now. I think this is system. I think still when it comes down to it, like for instance, there's no doubt in my mind that if they find themselves getting behind fast and Devin Booker ain't hitting in Game 3, Kevin Durant's taking over. If for any reason
he's got to get hot,
but fuck being hot. I'm saying he's gonna get aggressive. Whether the shots fall or not, you're gonna see him starting to take more shots as opposed to not, which it seems like he did in the Clippers series. And I'm only speaking to Clippers series because it's only 2 games in the Denver series. So I think that the second it looked like Devin Booker don't got this under control. Now Kevin Durant comes in because I think what this does is that this allows Kevin Durant to chill. Kevin Durant ain't young no more. You know what I'm saying? It allows him to chill a little longer. I could chill a little longer. All right, now y'all need me. All right, let me go do what I do type thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm my conversation the same. This is, if you're saying this is Devin Booker's team because he's producing right now, sure. But I think anybody who knows, I ain't gonna do that. But in my opinion, this is still Kevin Durant's team. Kevin Durant is waiting he's chilling in the cut. Like, that's kind of what Kings do. They sit in the cut. Oh, it's time. All right, let's go. And then I think that happens Game 3 if for some reason Denver dominates and it gets out of hand. I think KD turns up.
Well, it's got a chance to do that, and really, it is no choice, right? If Book is off his game, then I mean that's the obvious thing that's going to happen.
Because you don't want to go down 0-3.
Exactly.
If you're going to go down 0-3, you're going to go down 0-3 with your best player.
Right.
And your best player is still Kevin Durant,
and,
no matter how hot Devin Booker's been.
And not having Chris Paul to slow the Nuggets down, that's going to be problematic.
I don't know that Chris Paul slows the Nuggets down. What Chris Paul does is makes Phoenix offense work a little better. He's more integral. I think DeAndre Ayton, and I said this way before when Chris Paul got there. DeAndre Ayton's stock goes up with Chris Paul.
Yeah,
obviously Devin Booker has helped, but as far as offensive production, that helps DeAndre Ayton. That helps the Torrey Craigs, the people who don't create their own offense.
Right.
Kevin Durant and Devin Booker create their own offense. They don't need that.
Right.
And Chris Paul, whenever Chris Paul can give you 19, 20, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a good night. That's a good night. So that's where the issue is going to be.
I think both things can be true at the same time. You're right about how that offense flows when he's in there. But I think when you're trying to defend the Nuggets, and the Nuggets can run, right? Like fast-paced offense with the guys they got. Chris Paul, yesterday in the game, I thought he was the reason for the control of the pace of the game, which is why I thought the Nuggets struggled a little bit. They made the adjustment and they said, okay, let Chris, run this offense. Let him, let him dictate the pace of how the Nuggets are gonna run their offense and stuff. And they were a little bit slower yesterday than they were in Game 1. As far as the KD Book conversation goes, I always took into account that as they move into these playoffs, if they somehow get to the next round, that the roles of these two guys are going to change. One night it might be Book. It might be 2 days for Kevin Durant, to go off. I think it's kind of like a seesaw with these two guys, because
I don't think it's a seesaw. I think because let's be clear, Kevin Durant is still averaging over 25. So it's not like Kevin Durant out here just not being productive. He ain't averaging 20. He's still
right. No, I'm not saying he's playing poorly. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, right. So I think it's fair. It's just that I think that everybody recognizes Devin Booker was the hot hand. And if you're the hot hand, let the younger man go out there and be the hot hand.
Right. But I think it goes back to what I was saying several weeks ago, is that in order for this team to go out and win the title and go through who they got to go through to get it, Book's gonna have to be like the guy more integral than KD. Now, if KD does go off and he's KD, cool. But I think it kind of goes to that point.
I mean, when you say more integral, you meaning that he needs to be the more dynamic scorer?
That Book needs to be the more dynamic guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I disagree with you on that, but I hear you. I mean, I disagree with you on that, and I don't think the Clippers series is a example of what you're saying. Yeah, I don't think that's an example of what you're saying.
I respect that.
So I disagree. I just disagree, and obviously we're gonna have to find out. But
we're gonna have to find out. We'll see what happens with this Nugget series.
I mean, I think Booker. I think Durant scored 28 last night or the other night, and he scored 20. Booker scored 27. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying. But obviously, like I said, Ayton didn't produce. Craig didn't produce. Paul didn't produce. I mean, like you said, he got injured. But you know what I'm saying. So I think I don't know. I don't know that I believe that Phoenix would even give him the opportunity unless he just got hot. Like I said, unless he got hot, I don't think they would even give him the position to say, "Hey, Booker, win this game for us." When Kevin Durant's right there, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's the hot hand.
Yeah, and we'll see. And I think if Chris Paul ends up missing games, then I think it changes everything. Now Book is the one that's going to be handling more of the facilitating duties now, and I think the other thing that they got to change. Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He's not going to. Yeah, I'm saying then he's not going to. Then he's not. He's not going to be able to.
He's not going to drop 37. He's not going to drop 37.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's not going to drop 37. No. Exactly. It starts to. It now starts to be Book's the facilitator, and he's going to try to get his 25, 26, and then KD is going to be the more aggressor moving forward. But in addition to that, I do think, and this is an unpopular opinion, but I think something else has to happen with the Suns for them to advance further. I think Monty Williams is going to have to get somebody off that bench, a name or two. TJ Warren, and I know he hasn't had much playing time, but I think he's going to have to dig deep in that bench somewhere to try to get some production, to help these guys out. I think that's something you probably need to look out for.
But are you under this? Are you saying that because I mean, and again, it's hard to gauge the bench right now because they play the Clippers. But Okogie had a good series against the Clippers. I mean, obviously, who am I saying? Torrey Craig. Torrey Craig had a good series. Biyombo didn't average 10, but he had for what you asked him to do, Biyombo had a good series.
But like but like you talked about, it was the Clippers and they were undermanned.
I said I don't know if that's the gauge. I don't know if that's the gauge.
Right.
But I'm specifically like Shamit and Okogie. I'm interested to see how they going to turn up. It's not Shamit has experience in the playoffs. Now Okogie's been outplaying them, and if we're just counting the 7 games, the Suns are playing. Right. But Okogie, but I would like to think that Shamit can pick it up. Right. I like to think Okogie can pick it up. So I mean, I think like I said, I think Game 3. I want to see what happens in Game 3.
Yeah,
I want to see what happens.
I'm with you there, and not just the production from those guys like Okogie and Craig and those guys, but the minutes too. These guys, KD, Book, and CP and Ayton, these guys have been playing 38 to 40 something minutes a night, and God forbid one of those two guys go down, it's a wrap. So that's why I'm saying that at some point Monty's gonna have to adjust with these guys, but the guys particularly on the bench, even if it means that maybe they dust off T.J. Warren or somebody like that.
Let's be clear. That's not going to happen in this series if they're going to get out of this series. That's not going to happen.
Sure.
If they get to the conference finals where they got to play the Warriors or the Lakers,
yes,
then maybe I think those teams, maybe more so the Lakers and the Warriors,
yes,
you'll find pockets to get your stars rest. In their conference finals. But let's be clear, in this Denver series, they're not getting no rest this series.
Mm-hmm. Well,
they're not getting no rest this series.
They're not getting rest, and I'm not talking about reducing their minutes from 44.
I'm talking about scheme wise. Their minutes, the star Booker and KD.
Yeah,
their minutes not going. Yeah, you not against Denver because they got two solidified scores on their side.
Sure,
you can't
sure.
Give them no rest.
Yeah, but how many minutes are them guys playing? Jamal Murray and Jokic and those guys. Them guys ain't playing 40 plus. You know what I'm saying? Because
they don't matter because we know Denver got a better bench. It don't matter.
Right.
They have to stay in this series.
Yeah.
If they're gonna win, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker aren't getting no real rest. It's not happening.
Boy, that's asking a lot for
that's why
a team with championship.
They're the stars.
I get it. I get it.
Because it's all about matchups, right? It's all about matchups.
Yep.
If you God forbid, I ain't gonna say God forbid. Let's say the Lakers beat the Warriors. I don't have it happening, but let's say it happens.
Yep.
Obviously.
How many got that, by the way? How many games you got that going, by the way?
Yeah, I guess we got to do that. I got the Warriors in 6.
Me too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if that happens, if let's say the Lakers win,
mm-hmm. that
bench, yes, the bench is better than Phoenix's, but that bench ain't going to come on and go on no 25-3 run or nothing crazy. That bench ain't going to do that. Where, oh shit, they're going on a 25-3 run. We got to hurry up and get our stars back in the game. That's not going to happen with the Lakers and the Suns. You know what I'm saying? At least you don't want, schematically, you're not thinking that. So, you know what I'm saying? So, we know Denver run.
Yeah.
Any 5 minutes, that shit could be a 12-2 run. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
out of nowhere because we know they run.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a different situation because of the caliber of team you playing, or the style team you're playing. In Denver,
I get it.
As opposed to the style team you're playing with the Lakers or maybe even the Warriors in another sentiment.
I guess
I don't want to stretch it because I know we're running out of time, bro.
Yeah, I don't want to stretch it either. I'll make this final point as I watch as I continue to watch the Phoenix Suns throughout these playoffs and the different styles of teams that they're going up against. The more I watch them, the more I think the championship for this season, the chances of it, I think are decreasing a little bit given what they have to go through. So. But like you said, we'll see what happens. Game 3.
Game three is going to be pivotal.
Yep.
Pivotal.
For certain.
Yeah.
What you thinking about Boston and Philly? How you see that series going?
Shout out to MVP. Shout out to Embiid for winning MVP. That was announced earlier today. Shout out to that.
Shout out to Joel.
James Harden balled out of control. Game 1. Went crazy.
Houston Harden. 45.
Yeah, 45. 45. Mm-hmm. I think when I actually turned on the game, he had 34. That's why I kept trying to say 34. But he went crazy. But the Celtics in 6.
Celtics in 6.
Celtics in 6.
Okay. Because I hate the Celtics, so I'm a little biased here. Philly getting that game last night was huge.
Absolutely.
That was huge. You can rest Joel for game 2 and then just go to Philadelphia for 3 and 4 and just try to get both of those games. And you would expect Joel Embiid to come back for game 3 at that point. Look, man, I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna say Sixers in 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna go on a limb here.
I'll say this. A lot of people have been saying in reference to the 76ers that, hey man, how long we gonna keep playing this game? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is much like what you said about the Knicks, the East is kind of wide the fuck
open.
open right now.
It is open.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And if we're being honest, it's been wide open all year. I mean, like, I get Milwaukee. I
don't know about that.
I say that shit been open all year. Nobody in the East, and look, I'm a halfway ass basketball fan. You know, I don't really clock into like March. But nobody really. I get that. I get record wise, a team has been. You know, those teams, Philly, Milwaukee, and
Boston.
Boston. I get that they were there.
They were in a tier by themselves, and then everybody else was in a lower tier after that.
But I never looked at the few games I catch. I never looked at none of these teams and was like, these teams, when they play each other, are eons better. Mm-hmm. Like, don't the Knicks have a winning record against most of these against those teams?
We went 3-1 against Boston.
Right.
I think we split against Philly. If we didn't split, we went 3-1. And Milwaukee, we hadn't beat Milwaukee all year. And that was the one team that I was scared of, and that was the one team I had anticipated playing in the next round. And like I told Sim the other day, we win this series, we get to Milwaukee, that's where the run ends. Now that Milwaukee is out of it.
Right, but I say all that to say, because I'm just trying to keep it going.
Yeah,
I say all that to say is that the East been wide open. There hasn't been a team that wins all the majority of the games. But there hasn't been no team that you looked at them on the court and say, this team is better than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like when you look at them play,
right? You
just looked at Milwaukee, Boston, and Philly and said they took care of business. But these games were close. And I would imagine, and I don't want to theorize too far. I would imagine that y'all didn't beat Milwaukee because y'all don't have somebody on the wing that can guard Giannis.
That and our 3-point shooting was not good this year. Milwaukee's got guys that can shoot the 3-ball. That's part of it. That's part of it. But what you're saying is right too. But at the same time,
this shit is wide. This East shit is wide. It's wide open.
And all I'm saying is, why not the Knicks? You know.
But Philly has to be saying, just like y'all are saying.
Yes.
Why not us? And it's way more pressure on Philly because Philly has Embiid.
Yep.
They have the MVP.
Yep.
They have the running the what do you call it? The runner up for MVP.
Yep.
For the past 2 years.
Yep.
So it's like why, if not a year, now is the time.
This is the year. And let's be clear. All 4 of these teams have injury problems right now. You know, with Julius Randle with his ankle, Butler with his ankle now, Joel Embiid, with his knee. And I guess Boston doesn't have injury issues, but the problem with Boston is that they got a rookie coach that's, a little bit, questionable. The other teams in the East got coaches that have done this, that have been through it, So why not the Knicks, bro? That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
That's
I want to shout out Steph motherfucking Curry in that game 7 over the weekend.
Woo, 50.
That boy went ape shit. Shout out to him.
Man.
Like I said, I got the I got the Warriors in 6 against the Lakers.
Okay. Yep, I do too. Hey, props to the Kings. I wanna props to the Kings for a great season, man. That
lights a little too bright though. Lights a little too bright for that team. That was a big moment. And the experience shine.
Like I think most people expected that the moment was gonna be too big for him.
Steph Curry said, "Get out the way,"
and that's okay. Yep, they got.
And that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay.
Absolutely.
They got business to handle. The Warriors got business to handle. So I mean, I got Warriors fans on the timeline. Talking they talk. Everybody's been down on them throughout the season about this road record and all this stuff. And some of the fans have kind of pointed out that during that losing road record is that they've had guys kind of in and out of their rotation and stuff.
Right.
And so they're saying that don't worry about the road record. Just focus on when we get these guys back. And Wiggins has been back, and Wiggins has played well since he's been back. And they've had the guys healthy. And so, look, it's going to be a problem, man. Golden State for certain is getting to the conference finals. And, you know, and I said weeks ago, I thought the top 2 teams in the West were Denver and Phoenix. And I'm still anxious to see how Phoenix responds in Game 3. So we'll see
and the
what
last
happens
thing I'll
there.
say, and the last thing I'll say about the Warriors is that we forget the Warriors do fully understand that that their era is about to end.
Yep.
So they're a little more hungry. How many more can we get before this is over?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Draymond talking about going to another team and all that. Like, we know that this is about to get broken up within the next year or 2, maybe 3 years.
Yep.
So let's see what we can do. So they are still on a mission. So let's not forget that.
Respect.
I don't. Did we cover the playoffs for the most part?
Yeah, we did. We kind of did.
The other thing I wanted to say.
Who's your pick in this Heat Knicks thing? I don't think I ever got your.
I don't really know, man. I was hoping that one of y'all was going to sway me. I'll take the Knicks because, quite frankly, they have a better roster right this moment. Their roster is just better. But I thought it was interesting. And I found it it was interesting. I forgot to ask the ABM.
Yeah.
Second quarter, they put up a wall against Jalen Brunson, and that seemed to neutralize the team.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah,
yep.
Like, they pointed it out in the broadcast where, you know, he was getting one-on-one free drives. In the second half, there were 3 people lined up, and Jalen Brunson didn't look the same in the second half. So I don't know if that's a scheme that's going to work, or if the Knicks made adjustments. But I saw that and thought, I hope the Knicks don't lose to this undermanned team. But I'll take the Knicks in 6.
So
7.
So a part of that too, Maestro, is we had a lot of open looks from 3 in Game 1.
Yeah.
RJ was doing a lot of playmaking while he was going to the basket. Those shots didn't fall for us. The open looks, they didn't fall for us. And I feel like, in my opinion, Jalen Brunson saw that and was like, yo, I got to get us out of this. I gotta, you know, take over. I got to get these buckets. And I think it led to him, you know, shooting poorly.
I feel more like he just kept doing what was working for him in the first half. Because in the first half, he was doing what he wanted to do. It was looking much like the Cleveland series. I think he started. And obviously you watched the game way more intently than I did.
Yeah.
I feel like he was trying to do the same thing. They put the wall up, then he kicked out, and then people start not making shots.
Yep. He did some playmaking, as well as, like I said, RJ was doing some driving to the basket and kicking it out to open guys, and just our guys couldn't hit threes. I mean, when Obi Toppin is your leading scorer in 3-point shots, that's not good. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to have to start to hit those open shots because they're giving it to us. Miami is giving us open looks. We just got to knock those things down.
Yeah. Last thing I got, or last 2 things, Dylan Brooks, the Memphis Grizzlies have put out that they are not re-signing Dylan Brooks under any circumstances. I don't know why they would feel like that's something that they need to put out. I do also know that they attempted to re-sign him before the year started, and he turned down contracts. I don't know how you gauge his play over the year. I know how I gauged his play over the playoffs, and it was trash. So, now you turn down our contract, and now you're looking for a contract after, a lot of people could say that Dylan Brooks is the reason why the Memphis Grizzlies lost this series. People could say that. People could draw that narrative, and it would be a reasonable narrative.
So, if you're Memphis, you can be pissed off about being the number 2 seed and going out in the first round to a low seed. You can be upset about the play of Dylan Brooks. Hell, you could be upset, and it's not even your control. You could be upset about Ja getting hurt and missing the game or two in that series. To me, that doesn't warrant you as an organization to put out there that you're not going to re-sign this guy under any circumstances. Like, I've never seen that before.
You're putting a bad energy on Dylan Brooks, and I get it. He put his foot in his mouth, and obviously he got fined for not speaking with the media on the closeout game. Like, I get it. I get it. He put his foot in his mouth, and he's not looking like a professional, and
not taking the L's.
These are all reasons that you could put in your narrative to say that this is why we're acting the way we're acting. That's not acceptable.
You could still be upset about it, but you ain't got to put that out there that you're not going to sign the guy. You know,
you could just not sign him.
You could just not sign him. He's a free agent. You ain't got to talk to the guy.
Right.
Let him clean his locker. Let him go. Y'all don't have. Right. Y'all made up in your minds internally. Y'all not signing this guy. Let him go. You don't have to tweet and say, "Hey, you know, we don't want him under any circumstance. He did this. He did that." You don't got to do that to the guy. Because now you're dropping the dude's stock. Now you got people on TV talking about, oh, he did this, he did that, and you know, like Wilbon earlier today was talking about how a couple of years ago, Dylan Brooks had averaged 25 points in the playoffs that one year, which I forgot about.
Me too.
And you know, the production is dipped in some ways.
Significantly.
Yeah, significantly. You dropping the man stock. I don't appreciate that. If you're Memphis, man, I get it. You want to move on. I get it. You want to try to change some things with the team and all that. You have a right to do that, but you ain't got to kick the man in the door on his way out like that. You ain't got to put him out on Front Street.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
the last thing I had was rest in peace to Shaq Barrett's daughter and condolences to his family and Aria Bennett, who lost her life drowning in a pool. She was only 2 years old. I hate to end it on. I was trying to fit this in earlier before because I didn't want to end the show on a negative note. But for certainly rest in peace and condolences to the family. I don't. You know, she drowned in a pool with her family.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into no
worst
details or nothing crazy. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah. And prayers and thoughts and condolences and love and all those things that you could send to that family because I couldn't imagine.
Worst nightmare. A parent's worst nightmare. Rest in peace.
Yeah, for sure.
Prayers to Shaq Barrett and the Barrett family. My condolences goes out to everybody involved, and that you know they find peace at some point down the road. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to everybody in the Facebook live chat. Shout out to everybody watching us on YouTube. We appreciate all the comments tonight. We appreciate Doc ABM Bell for coming through. Talking some Knicks and Heat and all that good stuff, and the draft recap. That was cool as well. Folks, don't forget, continue to watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We got the Facebook page as well. Click the like button. Follow us on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. Also check us out on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. If you got questions, comments about the show, hit us up on the email tip at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. And if you're listening to us on any of these streaming platforms, Google, Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, make sure y'all drop us a review. Let us know what you think about the show and all that good stuff. So, my brother, glad to be on with you again, man. One more time, bro.
Yes, sir.
Can't wait to do this again next week. Folks out there, y'all have a great week. We'll be back next week with another dope episode. Peace, love, happiness, and remember, folks, mind your business.
Drink some damn water.
Recording.